Hello and welcome to episode 74 of IOnTheTigers, a podcast all about the National Ice Hockey League, but one that always has an eye on the Telford Tigers. Usual intro, perhaps though I need to change it to something including about the NIHL being ranked 51st, I believe it was, in terms of top leagues in the world that saw earlier. Nah, I think I'll keep it as it is. Adding in numbers is going to make it a bit more of a mouthful than it already is. So, no, we'll stick with it is. Usual format today. We'll do results roundup and preview for the upcoming fixtures. But before we do, just go around the league for some news, where we have a contract extension and also a bit of player movement as well. So we'll do the contract extension first. It's up at Solway Sharks. Torren Anderson, a 2-year extension announced there. In terms of player movement, Tom Palmer has left the Peterborough Phantoms and has joined the Romford Raiders. So that's the movement around the league taken care of this week. Not too much more to add there. On to results, but before we do, let's check in with Tigers 2. At home to Billingham Buccaneers. Last time two teams played, it was the second leg of the Cup semi-final. It was in Billingham and Billingham won. Back to league action though, it was at Telford. Tigers 2 won this one. It was a 6-0 victory as well on home ice, so a pretty strong showing there, scoring 6 unanswered. Good to see as well, nice tight defensive performance there from Tigers 2, and shut out an absolute cherry on top of that. National League. We kicked off the action Friday evening with the Sheffield Steel Dogs hosting the Leeds Knights. Finished Steel Dogs 3, Knights 7. So a good win there for the Knights on the road. On Saturday, and Telford made the trip down to Bristol. Was there any sign of coach legs or anything such as that? No, not at all. Tigers got into a 2-goal lead pretty early. I think they were 2-0 up inside about 8-9 minutes, somewhere in that kind of area. Unfortunately, the coach legs, or whatever you want to call it, did appear, I think, at the start of the second period. Very slow going from the Tigers. Pitbulls scored on a bit of a breakaway, a nice finish. Seemed to wake the Tigers up, got back into the game, and then with just under a minute of the period to go, James Smith made it 3-1 with just a beautiful finish, actually. He sold Tommy Napier the dummy, skated around him and just slotted it home. Third period, it's only one goal. It was late on for the Tigers, empty net goal to secure 2 points with a 4-1 victory. Really strong showing from the Tigers, excluding sort of that first, 8 to 10 minutes the second period. Looked really good, plenty of pressure, hit the pipes a couple of times, and, I think, being fair, Tommy Napier had an excellent game. If it hadn't been for him, Tigers could easily have put more on the board. He made some excellent saves there. So, yep, really strong showing there from the Tigers. However, a win's good. But with where the Tigers currently are, it does also rely on results for the Solway Sharks being taken into consideration if Tigers are to secure that 8th playoff spot. Solway made the trip to Milton Keynes to take on the Lightning. So my hopes were high that the Tigers will be able to claw back a couple of points. And indeed they were, as the Lightning ran out convincing 8-0 winners. So, not much more to be said other than a great couple of results there for the Tigers, with Tigers, of course, winning and pulling away from Bristol, whilst also bringing back a couple of points on Solway. Elsewhere around the league, Wildcats hosted the Bees. Procession for the Wildcats? Absolutely not. I'm sure that's what everybody would have predicted, but no, it was not to be the case. Finished 3-3, went to overtime, and Bees got the winner. So Bees win on the road. They did. They're having some good results. The Bees are in games that you just really wouldn't expect them to be completely honest and fair. I think a couple of the recent ones had sort of been at home. I think they beat Leeds at home, not too far back. But no, it's a win on the road. So yeah, impressive stuff there from the Bees. Sheffield hosted Hull. That one finished Steel Dogs 6, Seahawks 2. Peterborough took on Romford Raiders. Plenty of goals in this one, but it finished Peterborough 4, Romford 8. On Sunday, the Tigers hosted the Phantoms. Tigers raced into a 5-0 lead inside about 21-22 minutes. Plain sailing. How many more could we rack up? No, of course not. Never do things easily. Ended up being 5-all. And then a couple of fairly late goals from Tigers secured a 7-5 victory. Fantastic 4-point weekend. Was it going to be the perfect 4-point weekend with Solway picking up no points? Well, they had to travel to Romford to take on the Raiders. And that's indeed what happened, as the Raiders won 5-2. So, perfect weekend there for the Tigers. Bees took on the Steel Dogs. Again, finished 3-all. Much as it had for the previous night for the Bees. This time, though, overtime couldn't find a winner, so it went to penalty shootout, and that was won by the Steel Dogs. Steel Dogs win there on the shootout 4-3. Leeds hosted Swindon, and that was a 4-2 home victory, so no points for Swindon this weekend, which is pretty rare for them to go a weekend picking up no points. And last but not least, Hull hosted Milton Keynes, 5-all, but in overtime Lightning found a winner for a really big win on the road for them. So, perfect weekend for the Tigers, picking up 4 points, and Solway picking up no points. It brings the Tigers to within 1 point now of Solway. Solway do have a game in hand, but now there's just a 1 point difference. Realistically, I would say that it is only 8th spot that is up for grabs in terms of the playoffs. I think the top 7 will all be there. Now, in what order? Maybe that might change around a little bit, but the top 7 are all going to be in the playoffs. So there's 1 spot left to go. And it's increasingly looking like it's going to be one of Telford or Solway. So a big month and a half coming up for those teams. Upcoming week action kicks off, I believe it's Thursday evening this week, as Peterborough host the Bees. I'm going to go for Peterborough to win that one, so home win there for the Phantoms. Saturday, Bees host the Tigers. Bees have been pulling off some results, but no, I'm going to be confident. For the Tigers, it's a must-win game, quite simply. Performance, etc., doesn't count. It's very much just about results, particularly in games against Bees, against Bristol, against Solway. It's purely results. So, yeah, Tigers to get the win there down against the Bees. Wildcats host the Sharks. Wildcats do get back to winning ways. And if those 2 results do go the way that I've just predicted, that would see the Tigers up into 8th, leapfrogging the Sharks in the process. Lightning host the Knights in a big game up at the top of the league. Fancy MK to win that one on home ice. And last but not least for Saturday, Seahawks host the Raiders. Seahawks to win that one on home ice is my prediction. Sunday night, Tigers host the Bees. Much like Saturday night, Tigers to win it. I say, I don't care what performance is like. It's very much just the result. Need to get the 2 points there. Another big game as the Pitbulls host the Sharks. So the bottom 4 teams are all playing against each other on the Sunday night. I fancy the Sharks to win that one. I think that they will beat Bristol to keep themselves within a point of Telford. Knights host the Lightning. I fancy the Knights to win that one on home ice. So Knights and MK to split the points, a couple each this upcoming weekend. Raiders host the Steel Dogs. Tight, tough. I'll go for Raiders to win it on home ice, potentially overtime needed. And last but not least, Peterborough host Hull. I'm going to go for the Phantoms to win that one. So, there's my predictions for the upcoming week. As always, get in contact, leave me a message, let me know where I've got it wrong. Or indeed, if you want to come on, be a guest of the show and talk about your team. Anyway, in terms of this episode, that concludes it, but I'll be back this time next week. Bye for now.